Hello everybody, Rufi here with another play and explain video for you guys. Today we're back at the Microstakes with a session on 10NL, but I thought instead of playing rush&cash, which is a really nice format for videos, I thought it would be nice to also play regular table ones, just because that's what I would usually recommend, and I know most of you people are playing regular tables and not the rush&cash or Zoom formats. So yeah, let's see how we can do the regular tables. I mean, the game plan is more or less going to be the same, but we'll have more time to pay a lot of attention to what our opponent is doing. So I've got 5 tables open here. Here you got a 3-bet ace-6 suited. The price is a bit better, but I think ace-6 suited still a fold. Ace-4 is ace-5 is 4 is 3. I'd definitely call. Ace-6 suited I think is just a fold. If you made it 7 big blinds, I think I would call. And let's see. So I think the most important part when you're playing regular tables is pay a lot of attention to whatever is happening, even if you're not the one, if you're not currently in the hand, and kind of see how our opponent is playing. For example, this guy here, right, he gave up and missed the draw on the river, so important to pay attention to that. And then the other guy played king 5 offsuit, so very likely to be a recreational. So again, we want to pay attention to that. 9-7 suited, we'll definitely come in with a call there. Flop top pair, which is good, but multi-way not that strong, obviously. Guy playing 50% VPIP. I mean, here we definitely have to stick around. Hopefully the other guy gets out of the way. And then the ace-jack suited, I think I'm going to 3-bet against the recreational, or at least short stack. And then I think just check calling my 7, hoping for a clean turn. Pretty clean. Unless he comes for a huge size, definitely calling again. And now in the river, the question is, do we want to go for value bet, or do we want to check call again? There's some ace-5 that could call, pocket 6s that could call. Yeah, I think I prefer a small value bet here over check calling. We do just take it down. If I had a 5, I'd probably just always check. Here with the ace-jack, we got 3-bet. We got a cold call. We don't really have anything, but they didn't lead out. I don't hate going for a super small bet here, even against 2 opponents. I can still bet jacks 10s for this value, for this sizing, obviously. Apply pressure to random hands that they have. I mean, they play 50% VPIP, so yeah, good that we take it down. There's some turns where we can barrel. If we check back, we don't know if we are ahead on the turn, if we face a probe, if we should be calling. So I think we can still go ahead and see. But if I had a bit more equity, let's say if I had there the backdoor flush draw, or even a front door flush draw, I'm more likely to check back, because if I get raised at such a low SPR, I'm not that happy. Here with pocket deuces, it's close whether we just want to ship it in here. I think 25 big blinds, probably we can just ship it. 30 big blinds, we probably just call. Especially because this guy's probably going to gamble with any 2, so I don't think it's that great. And here we get queens on a low flop. Definitely want to have some checks back, but I think with queens we can just try and put the money in. You can use half pot, you can use a big bet size here. Let's just go for the big bet here. He should already fold some pocket pairs on the flop right away. If he doesn't do that, I think the big size performs better. He might feel like he has to raise his 10s and jacks to protect. Here the pocket deuces went check on the flop. The turn is a king. We're just gonna check fold. Not much to do there. Opening up the king 4 suited, and we're definitely going to 3-bet the pocket kings. Anywhere between 11 and 12 big blinds here is fine. Even smaller would be okay if you want to. And then the king 4 blindly blind on table number 4. Not a board where you can range, but then we kind of have the absolute worst hand, so this hand is just going to check fold. We can maybe bluff sometimes if it goes check check, but yeah, we don't really have anything going for our hand, so just check folding going to be the best play here. if we at least had king 6 suited with an overcard, backdoor straight or something, but we don't have anything, so yeah. I think just the check folding is the best here. Jack 10 on 7-5-3. Board we can actually have some leads. We're not gonna see that much. Not having a diamond, I think I'm probably pure checking this back. Although Jack 10 obviously better than, let's say, King Queen, which has more showdown value. But I think even Jack 10, we can't go wrong by just checking back and then potentially bluffing into the ley line. Now we pick up a gut shot. Yes, we could be drawing that if he has a straight, but with the gut shot we're ahead of all the pairs. Our Jack and 10 might be live there. We can bluff him on some river, so we make sure to not over 40 on the turn. This is definitely a call. We could play a 9x like this, ace 9, king 9, queen 9. And if he would have gone smaller, we could have even considered bluff raising on river. Even here, I don't hate the bluff raise, because a 9 might very likely size up. And maybe a straight as well. Sure, you can have some boats that go for this kind of trappy sizing, but maybe get to fold like a hand like a 7x, 5-6 suited, or just a random bluff. The double half pot doesn't seem that strong to me. So yeah, there's a lot of playability even if you check back the flop. So don't be too afraid. Same story here, 8-7, 8-6-5. Good board for the small blind flat caller, good board for the big blind. Definitely not a good board for us. We don't have anything going with our hand. We can just check back and realize some equity for free. The king is obviously a great card. And now we can navigate. We see a small lead from the small blind. Just going to call here. I think maybe occasionally raise like the check back ace king or aces, but mainly just going to call. He still has a lot of strong hands here. And then on the river we can either value raise or value bet ourselves. If he checks to us, there's a 4-2 straight out there, but I think we can still get value from weaker king X. Maybe pocket 9s, pocket 10s, king 10, king 9, ace 8. He checked relatively quickly, so I think we're fine. And now he jams on us. We have a very, very easy fold. But I think generally you want to value bet there when you check quite quickly. If you see a lead for the small sizing with our open end, I think I'm just going to raise it up. Plus the backdoor equity, we can put pressure on a 5 and an 8 right away. Calling is obviously also completely fine, nothing wrong with that, and just planning to bluff later. So yeah, definitely important to take a note, right? After he checked, he did have some trappy play, so he decided to go for the bluff, although quite unlikely for such a big sizing. So maybe against a guy like this one, we don't want to go too thin for value. Gonna isolate the jack 8 off here. It's not the best, but it's not the worst hand. And just gonna ISO really, really wide here against the presumable recreational. Here goes check, check really quickly on a board where you can have a lot of pairs. So I'm just gonna try and make him fold any non-paired hand for now, and then maybe on the river polarize. You see another small lead. Again, I'm just going to raise this up. Not really a board where he should obviously do any leading. And there's a lot of runouts where you can put pressure on. Jack 8 obviously has 2 overcards, so 5 and a deuce, which is great. And I think now on the turn we are going to check back and barrel with hands that have more equity. You could have also just called a min bet, just important to not fold against the min lead, right? Even though we don't have much, I don't think, against the min lead, kind of just treat it like a check. The 7-5 on these low paired boards that are really dry disconnected, I think at Micros you can still get away with range betting. The ones you move up, you should check a little bit more, and obviously we don't really mind folding to a check raise here. See another min bet. This might be him trying to induce us, but we're still gonna fall for it. We could have raised an ace 3, ace 4, and bet that hand for value now. So that's kind of what we're saying. Trying to make him fold a 5 or a deuce, never trying to make him fold a king. And yeah, it seems like the min bet is trappy sizing. I would rather him, betting him like 3 big blinds than the min bet. But without the info, I think we still want to go for it. My plan would have been to raise the flop after it was check, check, bluff the river. So again, the min bet I just treated as a check. Now though, that's the benefit of playing regular tables. He sits on his right, we have this information, and hopefully we can take advantage of that in maybe even still in this video, right, in the upcoming hands, or otherwise in the future sessions. Let's open up the king 5 suited. Not the greatest hand when you have a recreational to your left who's going to call a lot of hands. And on this board, I'm generally going to check a lot to the pre-flop caller in this situation. My range is just going to be a lot wider, or at least should be. Here, it's not necessarily the case that my range is a lot wider, but just that I, have absolutely nothing. And I don't want to put in money when I don't have any equity against the recreational, who's going to call very wide and float a lot. But again, gonna keep in mind that once he got checked to, he used a really big sizing, so I'm gonna also keep checking my strong hands to him. Maybe just had it this time, but maybe he likes to bluff when checked to. So all of these things are the nice benefits of playing regular tables, where you can really get reads on your opponents and adjust your play accordingly. 10-6 with some weaker people behind that maybe don't 3-bet enough. I'm trying to go in for the steal. So usually these later positions, cutoff and button, you want to expand your opening range a little bit if you have a lot of tight regulars behind. And then here ace-10 against the guy playing 80% VPIP. I'm actually going to 3-bet and isolate the regular here. Kind of treat this like as if he opens blindly blind, to be honest, or like on the button, right? He has such a wide range here that we just need to get in there, and either we take it down pre-flop, or we get to play a spot with him post-flop, which is, which would be the ideal situation. Don't really, think that you're MP against under the gun. If this guy plays 80% VPIP, it's more like, we're late position. Obviously, there's still more guys behind. But at 10 and L, I wouldn't expect my opponents to really pay too much attention to that and adapt too much. And they still need to see a showdown to know that I'm over 3-betting. Otherwise, it's going to take quite a while for them to realize that. But yeah, once you have a big whale like this who plays so many hands, really important to take max advantage of it. That's the reason you should be playing regular tables, to play with people that just play way too many hands, have a really high VPIP, and then exploit them to the max. Ace-5 suited here. Obviously 3-betting against the cutoff. If the button would have called, there's some argument in just flatting behind to play multi-way. Also squeezing would be okay. And now we are going to 3-bet. At 10 and L, if I would get 4-bet, I think the best play is to just fold. Higher stakes, you probably want to call, or even 5-bet jam. Probably just call is the most solid option facing a 4-bet here. It takes quite a while. If he goes into time bank and now 4-bets, I would consider 5-bet jamming, because he might be a bit more bluff heavy. And on this board, I'm just going to start off with a half pot c-bet. These jack-high boards are really good for the small blind against the cutoff. Here we have 3.5x open. If I 3-bet, get it in, I think I would rather have like a hand like ace-jack, ace-10, and just fold my hand here. On the turn, we pick up a pair. We don't have much showdown value, but probably a good candidate to just put in a check calling range. Not expecting to win much if he bets and then jams the river, obviously, but we can play check call here. We're still ahead of 10-9, queen 10, and most of my other flush draws I would just barrel here. If I jam here, I would need him to fold. Like, it's not the worst play to jam. And the king's here with such a short stack, with such a high VPIP, I'm going to check behind, let him hang himself. And yeah, raising again against the small donks. So just going to check call the ace-5 there, and hoping he gives up on the river with a hand like queen 10, 10-9, backdoor hearts. that's the plan. And now the kings I'm going to bet, trying to get value from an ace or maybe a queen. Obviously he's hoping for him to lead out and just blast off. And here the small donk, we raise the 7-6 and we got it through. And now when he jams, we will have Jack X, which makes for a way better call. And yeah, this hand I'm just going to fold. We block his bluffs like ace queen and ace 10. Obviously he shouldn't bluff all of them. There's still some hands that he can bluff us with, but yeah, I think we can let this one go. And the kings, I'm just going to jam, hoping he does have an ace. Maybe he hears us with queen jack sometime. Hard for me to be bluffing here on a triple power board, but it doesn't seem to matter for this guy because he calls a 9-4 on the turn, and then obviously if he calls that, he's never folding on the river. Here we have a limp pot. We have some equity. We have an overcard. Let's go for a stab. Go for a small bet and then continue bluffing on the river, most likely, if he doesn't raise. But he does raise, so we can get out of the way. So kind of easy trick to, when you're bluffing with a hand that has very, very little equity, just kind of trying to see if he has something. And then if he just calls, he's very likely to be a lot weaker. So then I would continue bluffing, right? If I go large right away, sure, we have more fold equity right away, but he might just call, you know, a jack, or he might just call a flush or two pair that he turned, and this way I kind of make sure he's not trapping.